Nita.
So, hi everybody. Just a little bit of housekeeping first of all, just to let you all know that this event is being recorded and all attendees will be muted with their cameras off. You can submit some questions in the Q&A bubble, and if we have time, hopefully at the end, we'll get to a couple of these at least. And the recording will be distributed then after the event as well. So let's get started. So, good afternoon, everyone, and really thank you for joining us today. My name is Anita Watts, and I am an energy advisor with the OPW's Optimising Power at Work event. We're only going to keep you for about 10 minutes today, so with no further ado, we'll just get straight into it, okay? I don't know, and not everybody gets to work from home, but for those that do, you have to admit one of the benefits, and hands up acknowledging the difficulties too, but one of the benefits is definitely being able to wear whatever you want. However, as more of us return to the office, at least maybe for a day here and there, it means less of those comfy tracksuit bottoms accessorized with fluffy slippers and more of picking out the office wear. So with that in mind, I want to explore the benefits of what is called a cardigan culture with you today. So what do I mean by a cardigan culture? Well, at the core of it is your comfort. It's about having an extra layer on or to hand that you can use to stay comfortable if there are times when the environment we work in is not quite at the temperature that you would personally like it. If it's a little cooler, you put on the layer, and if it's a little bit too warm, you take off the layer. So we asked you in our most recent survey if you would be keeping an extra layer to hand to stay cozy if there are any cooler moments. And it turns out that most of us do this already, 70%. And a further 22% said they're going to be doing it. So that's most of us already keeping an extra layer at work or planning to. It really makes sense in our climate where we often get all four seasons in one day, especially in the autumn and the spring when the weather can be so unpredictable. Quite often in the morning is dull and damp, and our building's heating systems then work hard to get the building up to temperature. But, and it's lovely when it happens, quite often the day brightens up and there's additional heat then from the sun that gets added to our building. This is then combined with the heat of people and office equipment, things like computers and lights. They all generate heat and may result in the building becoming actually too warm in the afternoon. And it's at that stage that the building's cooling systems have to work hard to cool things down again, or we maybe open the windows and let all the heat out. So if we can smooth these peaks and troughs out, we have the potential to actually save quite a lot of energy. So as we experiment with kind of bringing the buildings up to temperature a little later in the morning, it may feel a little cooler earlier in the day. But the hope is that to compensate for this by encouraging you to put on an extra layer. In this way, we should be able to get the very best from the other casual heat gains in the building, the things like the lights, the computers, the sun, and avoid wasting energy in overheating or the need for any artificial cooling in the afternoons. So to summarize, really, it's a little cooler in the morning, keep an extra layer to hand to wear just in case. And if it's a little warmer in the afternoon, you take off the layer. So it sounds simple, and it is on one hand, but on the other, there's nothing simple about it. And there are a few things that we need to acknowledge. And really, the first one is that we all work in all kinds of buildings. As an energy advisor, I've been in everything from brand new modern offices to 200-year-old castles, from little tiny bungalows to huge concrete 60s tower blocks. And these all have their own unique challenges when it comes to comfort levels. Added to that are our individual temperature preferences. And really the fact is that finding the office temperature to please everybody all of the time is basically impossible, because how we personally feel temperature is affected by so many different individual aspects, not least of which is how healthy we are, what our age is, how tired we are. I know that when I haven't had a good night's sleep, I certainly feel a lot colder. Things like the food we eat can even have an impact, and certainly the amount that we move around, it has a big impact. I'm always trying to get out and get a bit of a walk. It's so good for us for so many reasons. But there are things like, even just what we've acclimatized, what we've become used used to, and of course whether we're male or female, that changes things as well. So we all feel the cold differently. But setting those aside for a moment, I think we must also start to deal with the mandated 19 degrees that I think has been talked about quite a lot. So that the public sector has been challenged to take a leading role in reducing our nation's energy demand. And we all know all too well why this is. But part of this is to look at our workspaces and see where it might be practical to lower the temperatures on heating. So an extract from the press release was a requirement for internal space heating temperatures for all public buildings to be consistent with the minimum recommended temperatures set out by CIBSE guidelines. And in most, though not all cases, so certainly in the hospitals and places like that, that will be 19 degrees. And it's expected that that will hopefully bring us, up to 15% or savings in energy across those buildings. 2022 has brought a whole new set of challenges to the security of energy supplies across Europe. This is a graphic of the gas networks across Europe. And that certainly has added to the existing environmental concerns that we have over fossil fuel use. So really it's only prudent that now, when the weather's not so cold, that we try to conserve our resources so that we have them available to us for the really cold weather when it comes. And we normally try to heat our work, office and spaces to a comfort range of between 19 to 21 degrees. And most of us, 71%, feel that this temperature is what the workplace should be. There are a few then either side of that. So 19 degrees then is the bottom end of this comfort range. So for many of us, we may not even notice the difference. But if you're someone who does like it at 24 degrees, then you may well notice. It's such an obvious thing to say, but wearing really layers really does help. And so I looked into this 3-layer system that there's talked about, and that people who spend a lot of time in cold conditions. There's a whole science behind it, but I certainly learned a few things. The base layer, what I learned was that it should be close fitting and will lock away heat. It wicks away sweat. So they said to avoid things like cotton if possible, because that actually traps moisture. I didn't know that, and then so that it would cool you down over time. And then the mid layer, then something like a t-shirt or a shirt or a lightweight fleece can be a good option, and that kind of traps the air and acts as an insulator. And then an extra jumper or a jacket over the top. And for me, it's the favorite scarf. I think I always feel really cozy when I have my scarf on around my neck. And certainly layering up, it's not a new concept anyway. We all know about it really, but it's something that we asked our school kids to do during the pandemic away as well. So it's nothing new. And again, we did a wee survey, and we asked you recently if you believe that heating workspaces to the lower end of the comfort range, 19 degrees, is an acceptable energy saving measure. And it turns out that most of us do, 70%, and a further 10% neutral on it. So most of us believe that 19 degrees is an acceptable energy saving measure. So on the lighter side of things, your building or your organisation may be having a woolly jumper day. So look out for the posters and the communications on it, and take part in any of the competitions or the food opportunities. And there may also be some fundraising going on for those who are really going to find it tough this winter. So whether you're in the office or maybe you're still working from home, this is your chance to pull on a pullover and show it off. So we're simply asking you to pick out your favorite jumper, your jazziest jersey, or your coziest cardigan, and support the nation's energy saving efforts by wearing it. I have mine on. This is one of my favorite tops. This is the last present that I gave to my father before he passed away at the start of the year. So in many ways, this jumper just sums up my dad, and I can't help but smile whenever I wear it. So I encourage you all to dig out that extra layer, that one that you love or that makes you smile, or one that you know you just look fabulous in, and keep it to hand just in case. So really that's all from me today. I hope that I'll see you back here again next week, when I will chat with you about becoming a master of controls. It's all about heating controls. So hopefully we'll see you then.